Hey guys, what's up? This is Sudoku Warrior here to bring you another episode of Simple Souls. So, last time I have a separate microphone that I like to record on, but my laptop has a built-in microphone, and I ended up talking into the wrong microphone for the entirety of the last, episode. So if the audio quality was a bit lacking, that was probably why. Anyways, today we're taking on Anor Londo, and we'll be doing about the first third of it today, which is basically getting into that gigantic castle that dominates the center of it. So as you're running into Anor Londo, there are large, gigantic guardians that look like statues. Well, this being Dark Souls, of course, their only purpose is to kill you. And they do have really short aggro ranges, though, and yeah, they're basically just giants with massive halberds and massive shields. You'll have all of your souls from Sen's Fortress when you get to that bonfire, and since we're not really using boss weapons, weapons that require boss souls to make, you can just spend all of your souls on finishing leveling up your endurance. Still the most important stat until we get it to 40. You want to take off and head to this little spiral staircase area in the center. You're about to have to fight a gargoyle, which is exactly like the Belfry gargoyles, except you only have to fight one at a time, and they shoot lightning instead of fire. Whatever you did to fight them back in the Undead Parish will work again here, and it'll be definitely a lot easier because your weapon is quite a bit better. So yeah, here he is. He doesn't aggro until you step right outside of the building, but these gargoyles like to jump around a lot. So if you're playing a mage build and watching this, which I know this really probably wouldn't apply to you at all, but they like to fly off a lot faster than you can cast most of your spells. And then again, it's not like that really matters. He telegraphs all his moves with like a roar, except for the ones that are really obvious to see coming. So if you're listening, it's really easy to avoid all of his hits, I say, as I roll into one of his halberd hits. Awesome. Yeah, the lightning damage will go through this shield like it's nothing, because the Dragon Crest shield doesn't have much lightning resistance at all. If you two-hand the Claymore, these guys are pretty easy to stagger, much easier than one-handing it. But that, again, that stab just goes straight through their armor. Pretty great. If you didn't pick up the Gargoyle Halberd or Tail Axe or Shield, I don't know why you'd want to use it, but if you haven't picked up any of those, that gargoyle is one place you can get them. Yeah, and also, a lot of people don't know you're supposed to go up these flying buttresses, and when they do figure it out, they tend to miss the jump on their first try. So up ahead, right up against the building, you can see there are two columns. You don't want to run too far up the buttress, or else you will end up getting hit by those columns on your way making the roll down, and you'll get deflected off and fall to your death, probably repeatedly until you figure out how to roll it correctly. These Painting Guardian guys are really easy kills, except for when they jump around like that. They have no poise, so again, your Claymore is going to have that beastly stun luck that it can do. This part up ahead kinda sucks. You have the pleasure of walking across rafters, and yes, the drop is an insta-kill that you cannot save yourself from, and you get to fight these guys that throw highly damaging knives. So what I'd recommend doing is, after watching these guys pathfinding for a while, I discovered that it's always best at the first fork to go left, because that will make the goal with these guys is to make them stop throwing knives and do that jumping attack at you, and the left-sided route will get you to him more quickly, which will aggro him into actually doing melee attacks instead of just throwing knives. I like to take this as at a nice, really slow walk, and keeping your shield up at all times is pretty important. Again, there's no real alternate route that you can approach that guy from. You just kind of have to walk up to him. These guys you can, if you don't really want to try to kill them, you can just knock them off with your fists if you're careful. Yeah. And they do drop throwing knives every now and then. The most important thing with these guys is always, always, always watch where your feet are and try to anticipate how you're going to stagger and where they're going to move next. This part, for some people it's easier to do without locking onto the enemies, because if you lock onto the painting guardians, then sometimes you'll be doing like a stab or a swing towards them, and your character will take a couple steps forward and they'll be rolling off a ledge, taking you with them and laughing maniacally. This next part, there's another gargoyle right down there, just as easy to kill as the last one. So you get a little cutscene here. I honestly don't understand why they put a cutscene here. And, yeah, make sure you push it from the right side or else you just end up looking stupid on YouTube, because that's so awful. Anyways, thing rolls down, and yep. This is the centerpiece of basically the exterior of Gwens Castle. Oh, yeah, this is pretty great. You can almost always get a plunging attack off on this guy. Sometimes two if he decides to be lazy and not follow you out. They do have a penchant to flying around, making that a... When they fly around, it's not... It doesn't make them anything but hard to hit. You don't really need to worry about getting hit as long as you watch their tail and that gigantic halberd. Yep, they're worth a couple souls. Alright, now, you can see that this is connected to where we fought the first gargoyle now, but there's actually a bonfire if you go and push this and you crank the platform and make it go down one last time. Just follow the staircase down there, if you don't send it the wrong way, like I just did. And that staircase actually leads to a bonfire next to the tomb of Lord Gwyn. If you've ever gotten the Dark Moon Seance ring, you can at this time join the Blades of the Dark Moon Covenant, which the Dark Moon Seance ring is located pretty deep in the catacombs, which I didn't really go into before coming here because they can be pretty brutal for players until about the later half of the game. Anyways, this is the tomb. There is a ring that increases miracle damage by about, I think it's 10% at the back. Ring of the Sun's Firstborn. Anyways, yeah, you can rest here. Continue spending all those souls on your vitality. Sorry, endurance. Yep. Alright, so this next part, you only really have to fight a handful of these little lightweight batwing demons, and there's one of the more famous parts of Dark Souls for its difficulty up ahead. So earlier we ran up a flying buttress to proceed to the next area. You have to do that again, but this time with two people shooting bows that actually fire spears at you. You'll see in a couple minutes what I'm talking about. This area in and of itself isn't difficult for people with patience, but if you try to run through it too quickly, you can end up with a lot of enemies, and every single enemy here has really good synergy with everything that's sitting around it. They will combo you into the dirt if you let them. So you have this gigantic, massive, grand staircase with god-sized steps in the center for all the lords of Anor Londo, and little human-sized steps. None of the step sizes really fit your character's stride, which I've found extremely weird. Anyways, come up here. You will probably get nailed by those guys, and they do a lot of poise damage, and they'll probably knock you down. Anyway, as long as you don't die, you can run back to this corner over here. If you hide here and watch them, they'll stop pursuing you and go back to their just little home position. Once they've stopped moving, you can safely go back out, and they won't re-aggro unless you go way close to them again. Next area has 3 demons. The one that you can't see is off to my left behind me on the other side of the staircase. You'll see it in a second. This one is really the only one that you actually have to fight if you have a projectile weapon of any kind. They do get knocked back really far, so the stabbing attack on the claymore is a great way to reach them. This guy, you can kind of stand behind this little barrier, and a lot of times they do a stab attack and then jump backwards, and that will just send them off the ledge. So yeah, this guy, if you do anything but hit him in the head, you can knock him backwards off the ledge with any projectile at all. So if you still have like the light crossbow or something like that, some throwing knives or something, you can just knock these guys backwards, no problem. There's 2 more Batwing demons up ahead, one on the right and one on the left. And these ones, if you bait them backwards up here, up onto this thing, they only have 1 attack that can reach you, which is where they throw their spears at you, and it doesn't look like that guy's going to do it right now. The thing that makes this hilarious is that when they're both trying to pathfind their way to you, one of them will always fall off the ledge, because the other one will be taking up the closest available path, so it'll just think it needs to go somewhere else, and even though they have wings, they can't fly, so they die. Alright, this is the part where there is an archer on the left and an archer on the right, and those objects that are steadily growing bigger are lances. They shoot them out of giant bows at you, and they auto-knock you down flat on your back, regardless of how much poise you have. Well, once you've run up the first buttress, just wait until they stop shooting to give yourself a few extra seconds. You can just let them continue shooting at you, but you risk up ahead getting shot in the back at a horrible, horrible moment, which you will see in a moment. Alright, so head up this one and head to the right, not the left, because around that corner is the entrance to Gwens Castle. Up here, you'll want to block, unless you're really, really confident with your dodging skills that you're not going to end up falling off the ledge, and if you know how, parry these guys. Other than that, you should just try to stay stationary with your back against the wall and not get knocked off the ledge, so that way you can just kind of beat them up. Occasionally, you can just block with your shield, and eventually his moves will take the Silver Knight off the ledge. And yeah, that's how you get into Gwens Castle. All in all, it's not too terribly hard to get here. There's a bonfire up ahead, and everyone's favorite Knight Solaire right here. So yeah, this is the first third of Anor Londo. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.